and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new episode of Full Steam Ahead. I'm your host, Zoe. Co-host Cantu is on the other side. Stebby's not with us tonight. Hope he feels better. Little, guess a 3-day bender for him, maybe. Maybe. I'm just
Yeah, yeah, Steban's still passed out since his 5K run. He's still in
yeah,
bed, hasn't gotten up since. But I'm sure he's tuning in right now soon.
I forgot. Yeah, he did run another 5K. That shoot, he did the Space Cowboys and now the U of H one. So the next race for Stebby, we'll have to be continue with that, and I'm pretty sure it'll probably be in the next month or so. I
Probably,
think.
yeah.
But he's been man gymming, running, everything. So shout out to Stebby for being Mr. Fit. But
He's trying to get rid of that dad bod.
yes, the dad bod. But this weekend in Houston sports, my gosh, if you are a Houston Astros fan, a Houston Texans fan, a Houston Rockets fan,
Go to sleep.
yeah, it just hasn't been a really great weekend. Of course, we are a baseball
Or
podcast, and
Rockets.
that's why I said in the Houston
Oh,
Rockets.
yeah, he did.
Baseball,
Brand.
yeah,
Um,
baseball podcast. Astros getting swept by the Seattle Mariners. Houston Texans are 0-3,
look
which that
lost.
game against Jacksonville, honestly, they should have honestly won, but that didn't go their way. And then last but not least, to put the icing on the cake for Houston sports, Houston Rockets point guard, Fred Van Vliet. It was just out of nowhere. Is probably not going to be playing this season due to a torn ACL.
How did he tear it? Did they announce?
I'm guessing the offseason workouts they've
Yeah,
been. I know
practice.
he's
You're
been
thinking.
doing a lot of offseason workouts regarding in. I know he's done some boxing. Of course, been doing some lifting. There was some pickup basketball with Shangoon. So that is honestly my guess right there is some basketball. I don't. Of course, they're not going to be playing some pickup games and all that, but of course they're preparing for the season, getting a little bit of light work with some shoot around. But that could honestly be my only guess. I don't think you could really. I don't think honestly you can tear your ACL in the gym, or maybe some
Sure, you
running
can.
he did, maybe landed wrong.
Well, remember when Salvador Perez tore his, I think what ACL falling down the stairs at his house too. He tripped on a luggage apparently. So strange activities.
Yeah, what was it, Salvador Perez or was it another player?
No, it was Salvador Perez. I
Because I
remember.
do remember that he was already
Uh,
hurt and then putting that onto the list.
yeah,
I mean, football in general right now. I mean, Najee Harris torn Achilles. I don't know if you saw that one. That looked really
did.
nasty.
Don't
James
remind
Conner.
me. I just traded Omari Hampton. No, don't remind me.
James Conner with the I think it was an ankle sprain and he's out for the season. Joey Bosa of the San Francisco 49ers torn ACL. So a lot of season ending injuries happening right now.
Joe Burrow with the turf toe too.
Yeah, no, don't even remind me. I got Jamar Chase right now, and that's just looking at it. Maybe I should have just went with Bijan
I mean,
with the first overall pick.
I'm in the same boat too. Dude. I'm in the same boat.
But speaking of, I mean, we're continuing the little sad bits of this weekend, and it goes on to this series against the Seattle Mariners. And now, this title of this episode is Will the Astros make the postseason? Episode 287. Because as of right now, your Houston Astros are outside of the postseason playoff picture. Right now, the Cleveland Guardians got that third wild card spot as we speak to you on a Monday night, 10:04 p.m. Central Time in Houston, Texas. And it looked very positive in this homestand. Of course, we didn't do a recap of the Texas Rangers series, but in the beginning, we had said both these two series against divisional opponents with the Rangers and Seattle are very important that you need to win both of them. They did their job against Texas, swept them, which was a really fantastic job. Offense was there, starting pitching was there. I mean, everything was perfect for this team. And you would think they're going hot baseball into the next series with the Seattle Mariners, who also were playing hot baseball. Astros won 4 of their last 5 games. Seattle had won, if I'm not mistaken, I'm probably booching it right now, 10 of their last 11 games heading into Houston. And someone was destined to lose. And you would think if you're Houston, you have the home crowd behind your back, playoff atmosphere. You got your three best pitchers going onto the mound against their three top dogs. And Seattle not just won the first game, not just won the second game, but they took three from the
Yeah.
Astros at Daikin Park to end the regular homestand this season for the Astros.
Yeah, I think that was worst case scenario for the Astros. I think going in, they knew it was going to be a dogfight, especially since Seattle wants the series. I mean, the Astros wants, the ALS too, right? They're both battling for that. But I think Seattle was just a better team all around, pitch offensively and defensively, pitching as well. Uh, I think this for the Astros, this was the worst thing that could happen. I mean, if you lose the series, okay, 2-1, that's fine. You're just a game, two a game back. But being swept, I think that's a dagger. I think it's gonna be kind of hard to come back from that because you just put yourself in a big hole. I mean, it's possible Seattle, could lose some games. The Astros could win, try to catch up, but they made it a lot more difficult, and especially in the wild card race. There's no more game 163 anymore, right? So right now the Cleveland Guardians have the tiebreaker in that as well. So it's you know, we actually got a lot of work to do, a lot of things to clean up, and a lot to hope for. They're going to be relying on teams to either win, lose, and that's never a pretty fight. I mean, I think you always want to control your own destiny, and relying on others, it's very difficult.
Yeah, the Houston Astros record 84 and 72, second in the American League West. 3 games back now in the American League West because of that series sweep from the Seattle Mariners. 5-5 in their last 10 games. And Seattle, who they got to play against at their own ballpark on their home turf at T-Mobile, is the Colorado Rockies. Which honestly, if you're Seattle, you're looking into that series, and you're like, that should be a series sweep. 3 games against the Rocks, and then there will be 3 games against the Los Angeles Dodgers. So if you're the Mariners, you're dead in looking to sweep that Rocky series. So you do not have to worry about Houston trying to get back into it against a team like the Los Angeles Dodgers, who have, perennial MVPs, Cy Young pitchers, all that stuff. And that the only thing I had mentioned the last episode was if the Dodgers are still playing for the division, they're going to send out all their top players out there. They're going to send all their top pitchers, all of that, because they want that second seed. I think they have actually have the standings in front of me for both. They will have the third seed because the Phillies right now are 92 and 64. Dodgers are 88 and 68. But as of the regular season, looking at their record,
And
they have
then,
a 3 game lead against the San Diego Padres.
and honestly, right now, you just said the Mariners have a 3-game set against the Rockies. If they sweep that series, they're in because their magic number for the
Correct.
division is 3 games.
Correct.
So if you're looking at the Astros, it's not very looking too pleasing, especially when they got the Athletics, who have shown they're always willing to put up a fight, always ready to play spoiler, always ready to take it serious, when they can. It's a young team. You got Nick Kurtz on the other side. I think the Astros are ready to stop, you know, I think the Astros are ready to stop seeing him, in the AL West, but they still got a lot of more years of Nick Kurtz, you know, for him to be messing with the Astros a little bit. But yeah, the Seattle Mariners sweep the Colorado Rockies. That's it. Astros hope for a wild card spot. That's where again they dug themselves into a tremendous hole, and it's gonna be very difficult to get out of it. And this is an Astros podcast. I think Astros fans want me to be a little realistic. Or like not like very confident in the Astros, but as of right now, I think you're looking at the Seattle Mariners AL West champions. Honestly,
Yeah, that's tough hearing that from you, and tough
yeah.
hearing that from me. And, like you said, it's an Astros podcast, and we're supposed to be positive and telling you the realistic and the confident boost of the morale. And right now, I mean, Seattle came into Houston and they literally took that from the Astros.
And Carlos
And
Correa said that they tried their best, but Seattle was just a better team.
And yeah, we'll get that real quick in just a second, just objective wise, recap that Seattle series. And then we'll talk a little bit deep more about the wild card standings, what can happen, how can happen, what needs to happen, all that good answering question stuff. Preview against the Athletics, and some key injury updates. Of course, doesn't look too serious for Jeremy Pena, but he lands doesn't land on the IL, but he had just landed on the injury report, and same goes for Jordan Alvarez. So, Angel, before we get started, you want to let everybody know where they can find us and where they can see us for these last two series before the 25 season comes to an end.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the icons up there, but you can find us on X, Instagram, TikTok,
Oh,
and YouTube at Full Steam Ahead. Instagram is at FSA Full Steam Ahead. You can also find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Literally wherever you get your podcast from, that is where you can find us. But yeah, if you want, updated scores for the Astros games, if you're out and about and can't see the games, we got you covered there. We have those daily tweets on every Astros score as well. And then we do got some comments coming in. Astro Ward Craig, who we haven't seen in a while, so I hope you're doing great. Hate that they're on the West Coast to end the season. I'll have a hard time staying awake. Yeah, that's you and me both. We got sarcastic prodigy there. The Mariners did what was necessary before and during the trade deadline. Get the players that they needed. The Astros moves did not work out as well. I think when you land Eugenio Suarez, and that's always a big one, But the Seattle Mariners still have a little bit more capital and like prospects and you know more appetizing offers, and that's why they were able to get deals done compared to the Astros, who minor leaguers aren't very sought out after.
and you did mention Eugenio Suarez. They also getting Josh Naylor was another big one for
Yeah,
them. They needed a first baseman, and they got one with the consistency offensively in the batter's box. And for the Astros, I wouldn't say the moves did not work out as well. The only,
injuries.
yeah, the injuries had just been dramatic for this team this season. And for Seattle, I mean, they're starting pitching depth. I mean, look
Yeah,
at it. You can literally grab one of their guys and put in this rotation, and they're probably number two on the rotation.
yeah. I think the emergence of Brian Wu really helped them out because I mean,
That
like,
sorry to interrupt you, Angel, but that is
uh,
their number one starter in a playoff matchup.
and that's you say that, and you still got Luis Castillo in that rotation. You got Logan Gilbert. I think George Kirby is he still pitching or he's still hurt?
Yeah, he pitched this
There you
series.
go. Again, I had a busy weekend today. Didn't get to watch a lot of baseball, but yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, and you got those three guys there, and then you're saying Brian Wu's the best pitcher right now. That speaks volumes right there of how deep that rotation is.
Yeah, and we can go back and talk about like the trade deadline post grades and what we had mentioned. And I always go back to it. You always need some type of pitching, started pitching, relief pitching, all of that. And I think Astros fans didn't see Josh Hader landing on the IL on their crystal ball. They didn't see Lance McCullers Jr. They didn't see Luis Garcia. Them are two starters right there. That is
Yeah,
a big arm in their bullpen that they lost in their closer. And what you have to settle with is guys, Christian Javier, for them has been, and that last start against Texas was really well,
yeah,
but
and I
they
think
really haven't had anybody to stay healthy, I would say, in the rotation, the bullpen. Caleb Ward also in the IL. So it's just been devastating for this team.
yeah, I think these are like I guess you can say lessons learned for this Astros organization because I think this is consecutive years where they're like they'll make a huge splash, money wise, but what they say is that oh we got these guys coming back, we got these guys coming back, but at the end of the day, I, that might not be the case. Like you see, Lance McCullers hasn't been right since the injury. Luis Garcia is another one. JP Pransberry is making his way. Christian Javier, I think, hasn't been too special yet, but again, coming back from injury as well, he's been pretty good, but has some rough innings here and there. But I think when the move is there and you can make something, I think the Astros can probably learn from that. That you can never have enough pitching. And Adam Brown says that a lot. So I know he wants to get as much pitching as possible. That's one of his models, I guess you could say. But just like how they have a tight infield where they don't know where to put. When everybody's healthy, what do you put like it's fighters and stuff like that? I think that's a good part to have on the pitching side too. And what do you do with these guys? So you know, it's gonna be next year. He got Fran Valdez might be leaving, and now you got to fill up one more gap in the rotation.
Yeah, off-season talk is going to be very fun for us. So we always like to kind of look into what free agents are out there, what players are on the trade radar, And I'm pretty sure, there'll be some players on the trade radar regarding the Astros. There'll be some players that are in the free agency pool that are looking to make a move into a winning culture, winning position, winning team, all that good stuff. So it's going to be a very interesting, especially in December time with the baseball winter meetings. That's where the action actually starts to happen
You know,
a little bit more. But I mean, I think you had mentioned Angel. There are a lot of pitchers. There's not a lot to talk about for free agency pitchers, starting pitchers for this year. And I think there's only like two or three names that are really.
top, I would say top three: Zach Allen, Ranger Suarez, Framber Valdez. After that, it's kind of like you're hoping for a good season. Like it's a lot more riskier on the other guys.
Yeah, and I mean, let's go through this recap. We'll talk a little bit more about where the Astros position themselves in the postseason, and really the story of this series was the offense was just not there. Really, the Astros only led one time throughout this whole series. Throughout these three games, they only led one time from them three games. And just saying it, I mean, Seattle, like we had mentioned, I mean, Seattle looked like they just wanted it more. It felt very more to them that this series right here, depending on how it's going to be, is going to see where this team is positioned going into the postseason. And what they did, they literally did everything right. Yes, they did have some errors, but it didn't really affect the outcome of that game. I mean, you saw key plays from Victor Robles, robbing a hit. You saw the pitching of Brian Wu, Logan Gilbert, George Kirby. I mean, you saw how that turned out. The offense was there for Seattle. I mean, they played great, almost perfect, but great baseball against a team that has always been on top of the division for year from year from year from year from. I could go on. I think it's 6 or 8 years that the Astros have won the American League West ever since coming from the National League to the American League, and Seattle had enough of it. And this was a statement series win for them to show not just the Astros, but the whole Major League Baseball, like we're the real deal coming into this postseason.
Yeah, absolutely. And if again, like we said, if the season ended today, it would be the Astros would be out. But if they can sneak in the wild card spot, they'll be either playing against Seattle or Detroit because it looks like Toronto's going to clinch that first seed. Right now, Seattle's that second seed, and then Detroit is that third seed. So I think best case scenario, the Astros still have a chance to sneak into the second wild card spot, and they'll go against the Yankees because there's just a game off the Red Sox. But it'll be interesting to see. I think right now, best case scenario for the Astros is you get that fifth spot in the seating wise, and you go against the Yankees compared to either facing Detroit, who you saw what happened last year with when the Astros met, or Seattle, who's clearly had their number this season.
Yeah, well, we're looking the
Well, sorry, my fault,
yeah.
my fault.
No, you're good. You're good. I mean, I like to have it a little bit early. Um, Talking about where they can seed, man, because it's going to be tough. 6 games left in the season. I don't know what Houston can do after that series against Seattle. I'm pretty sure there's a little light under their butts. I would like to say the other word, but we're not going to say the other word. But maybe it's a little bit motivation going into California because they will be playing in Sacramento and then they'll be playing in Anaheim. But moving on to this Seattle series still, and the offense, like I was mentioning, Seattle did a lot. 7 home runs, 10 extra base hits, 6 for 19 with runners in scoring position, and 16 men left on base. Compared to Houston, who had 3 home runs, which was Isaac Paredes, Zach Cole, and Jeremy Pena, 5 extra base hits, 2 for 20 with runners in scoring position, and 19 men left on base. Those numbers from Houston, that's not going to win you a series. That's not even going to win you a game. Like Seattle did a lot of extra base hits. They had 4 solo home runs in game 1. Game 3, they had that grand slam from JP Crawford. And then, of course, the 2-run shot from Cal Raleigh. Cal Raleigh also had a home run in game 2. And Houston, I mean, they're trying to climb out of a hole with Jeremy Pena's grand slam. That kind of helped them out a little bit. Isak Paredes really didn't affect, but look with him, that was his third game back coming from the IL.
And you
He
kind
already
of
had
know he's
a
not
home run.
100%. Yeah, and he's not 100% either.
And you saw he had a swing and miss, and he had to run at first base. And you know he wanted to run at full speed, but if you run at full speed, you're gonna have a blown tire, and that can obviously hurt a little bit more for you to even come back for the next season. But Isak's trying to do whatever he can, and then Zach Cole, of course, a rookie that's just continuing to do what he can to position himself on this overstacked depth team that they have with the outfield. And I mean, like I said, the offense is just there's a lot of opportunities. There was a lot of momentum in game two, especially. I honestly thought Houston was going to find a way to come back and win that game because they had that grand slam from JP. You had runners on first and second almost every inning. And then Correa hitting that looper to right center. I honestly thought it was going to get down. They had second and third with
Yeah.
one out. Yiner Diaz strikes out. Christian Walker comes in to pitch hit for a lefty, and then he strikes out. I mean, you just can't do that. You got to find a way to put a ball in play. And we've talked about it with them two guys specifically. They've had an up and down season throughout this whole 25 season, and where it matters most. And Giannis actually been playing some good baseball in the last 7 games, but in that opportunity right there, you got to find a way to put the ball in play, and it just did not happen.
And that Jake Myers play that everybody's talking about too. Like you just got to read the ball and not a scenario like that run is valuable and you can't be risky like that knowing who you got in the outfield.
Yeah, I was shocked to see him actually dive for that ball. I didn't think that was going to happen. Big heads up play from Cam Smith. I don't know if you saw the little slide he did to grab the ball real quick and throw it in because that ball was rolling all the way to the wall. And with, I think it was Victor Robles who had hit that with his speed, he's scoring all the way to home if that ball reaches all the way to the warning track to the wall. So just not clean baseball, I guess you could say, for the Astros. I wish Houston would find some type of way to steal some bags. I think the aggressiveness from Seattle, you saw Victor Robles try to steal some bags. You saw Josh Naylor even try to get some bags. I mean, Randy Rosarena. I mean, they tried to put pressure on Houston, and Yadier Diaz had thrown some good balls to second base, but some of them were laying, some were on target. And with Houston, you hardly saw any guys stealing, being aggressive and on the base path. So I thought that would have been helpful for Houston because what you're trying to do is put yourself in a better position to be in scoring position. And, with a little dribbler between first and right field, down the line left, down the line and right, in the gap, something like that, that's going to bring you a run easily. And I think Houston kind of this season, at least the second half, has fallen off of stealing bags. And compared to
Yeah.
this first half of the season, they were very aggressive. And this second half, the aggressiveness from first, trying to steal it back from first to second, it just hasn't been there.
Yeah, I mean, and it could be health wise. I think, every time you steal back, you run the risk of getting your finger stepped on or, just getting hurt. So I think maybe seeing all the drastic amount of injuries make them a little bit more hesitant. Again, I'm just speculating there. I'm not sure if that
Yeah.
was the case, but that could just be another reason why.
Yeah. The Astros offense, and we've said this each season, has been inconsistent. And Prodigy there just said it himself. Walker killed the Astros not being able to consistently produce in key situations. Key
Surely
situations.
hurt. Surely
But
hurt.
I don't think it's always Christian Walker. I think it's
Yeah, it's not just him.
everybody in
Everybody.
the lineup
Yeah, I
from
agree.
Cam Smith, Mauricio Dubon, Jake Myers, Yiner Diaz, Jesus Sanchez, Carlos Correa, Jose Altuve.
And honestly, not just even on the plate, base running too. I think there's various situations where like the Astros, where I don't know exactly what they were looking at there, where they got themselves doubled up or got themselves picked off, or just like boneheaded moves. I guess things that he did in the base path. I think that hurts a lot. It's a rally killer for sure, and a big
Yes.
boost for the other team. So
Yeah, some head scratchers. I mean, we can go back to that Toronto series. Jose Altuve staring at Vladimir Guerrero at first, seeing what he's going to do, and threw a damn shot to the third baseman's glove, and Altuve was out in no man's land. So, I mean, base running, there's been some defensive miscues. I mean, just very, I would To describe the second half of this season for Houston is just very inconsistent, head scratching
Yeah.
moments, plays. I mean, that's the
Yeah,
way I see it.
it seems like the Astros could never get, their full squad together. When the pitching was good, the offense couldn't produce runs. When the offense was good, the pitching, wasn't so great. And it was just putting in all the pieces together was really a thing. And again, injuries could have played a part on that. Honestly, it's what they led the league in injuries. A lot of
Yeah.
elbow soreness, a lot of crazy injuries in the beginning, like for example Spencer Arrighetti, and it's just this is a trend. I mean, this is back-to-back seasons where the Astros been hit by the injury bug, and it's been hard to overcome, honestly.
Yeah. And specifically, that injured bug is going after pitching, starting pitchers this season. I mean, you lost three last season with Urquidy, with Javier and
Who's
Garcia.
pitching in Detroit, actually?
Yeah, who is pitching in Detroit. And
Yeah,
this season, you lost Wisniewski, you lost Ronel Blanco, you lost Luis Garcia, who tried coming back.
that's what
Lance
Cutler.
McCullers was, in and out on the IL. And then Spencer Arrighetti, which we have yet to hear anything, no updated list on him about TJ or not, which I don't think I've heard anything. Angel, I don't know if you've heard anything with Tommy John with him. But of course, I think he wants to avoid that because if that's the case, he will miss the whole 26 season. So I would say starting pitching or just pitching in general has really hurt the Astros this season worse than last season.
Yeah, and then you got Myers out, for a long period of time. So is Jordan Alvarez for a long period of time.
Jeremy Pena missed a month.
Yeah, and it's just kind of hard. Honestly, it's kind of hard to win games like that when you don't have your full squad. It's we always talk about how it's a marathon, not a sprint, but it's kind of hard when you try to run this marathon, but you get a bunch of obstacles thrown in your way, just bringing you back. I think it's kind of hard to come up on top of that.
Yeah, and to finish the recap of the Seattle series, Hunter Brown, I mean, he's done what he has done throughout this whole season, and he has overtaken the ace of this rotation from Framber Valdez, and was the only starter that showed a lot of juice, showed a lot of energy. You saw when he got that check swing strikeout, he was amped up, he was pumped, and Framber Valdez 5 runs in his start. Didn't go really well for the next starter with Jason Alexander, who's been really good for Houston. And we've talked about who would be the number two starter. Would it be Alexander? Would it be Valdez? And I mean, both of them right now didn't really show who would be the number two. Alexander got shelled with a grand slam, followed by an RBI single, and then followed by a Cal Raleigh 2-run homer. So that's just very tough when your coaching staff and when the team really needed somebody to go out there and try to throw a gem, and also not to just throw them under the bus saying that they didn't do well. I mean, the offense didn't do their job either, but it's more difficult for a pitcher seeing so many runs get scored for Seattle, and then you look at your team kind of like, all right, where you at? Like I need you to kind of help me step up, try to give me a run, scratch a run here, scratch 2 runs there, kind of thing, and it just didn't go as planned. I mean, Framber Valdez just this season, specifically the second half of this season, just hasn't really gone well for him. I don't know how it's going to look now for free agency. Of course, he is still a dominant pitcher, but with the whole fiasco with the moment of Cam Smith playing the wrong position and not talking about direct defensive um, situations like in the outfield, and then you go with Cesar Salazar, mix up. The second half has just not treated him very well, and just wanted to see what has it looked after the All Star break. 2-7 with a 5.63 ERA, 2.79 opponent batting average. Just let's see if
Is
I can
that for
find them all.
Fangraphs?
Say it again.
Is that Fangraphs?
This from MLB.
Okay.
0-4 in September with the 8.27 ERA. In August, he has a 1-3 record with a 5.64 ERA. So, man,
Yeah, like I said, I think Brown this will get a contract. It's just like, the
he will.
talent's there, but he's not gonna get paid more than Ranger Suarez. Not gonna get paid more than Max Fried. Not gonna get paid more than even Zach Gallen, I would say.
Yeah, that's
and
very
Zach
bold
Gallen
on that one. On Zach
and
Gallen,
Zach
that's bold.
yeah, and Zach Gallen has again. I was about to say this. Zach Gallen hasn't had a great season either, right? But when you're doing those antics on the field, that speaks volume to your character, to your personality, and teams take that into account. Like the talent's there, but if you're gonna be someone in a clubhouse that's gonna bring the energy down, or kind of break, I guess, the camaraderie, the culture there, they might take a second look. And I'm gonna use this football example, like what Shedeur Sanders, right? Wasn't to be going first round, and then didn't like the way he was, like he came out, like, and promoted himself when these kept the teams fell to the fifth round. Same thing with Framber Valdez, right? It's like he's projected to get a big paycheck, but if your characters, doesn't go with your play, you're gonna lose out on, on teams, on money, and just it's it's all one core, and then if one damage is gonna hurt you.
Yeah, Framber Valdez just missed a lot of pitching locations, very inconsistent on his command. The home run to Cal Raleigh was supposed to be an inside. I think it was a sinker that was thrown, and it just was all over the plate, going towards telling to the right side. And Cal Raleigh, being a professional hitter that he is, especially MVP season he's had, takes it the other
Can't
way
make that
into the
mistake.
Astros bullpen.
Yeah, we can't make that mistake.
Yeah, and the Astros are 1-9 or 1-10 now when Framber Valdez has been on the mound. And I think Framber might have one start left, if I'm not mistaken, because it will be Tuesday if you're listening to us in the morning.
Might be two.
I think he might have one, and probably going to be against the Angels. Yeah, I think it has to be, but yeah, man, Framber Valdez. I don't think a lot of Astro fans seen this happening in the second half of the season for him. I mean, everything just hasn't gone really well for him, and the energy now in this clubhouse, I mean, just has gone down. You just don't see any excitement. You don't see any antics, anything like that. And
Yeah, I think this series is a crusher for sure.
yeah, so like Angel said, Farmer's going to get paid somewhere. Starting pitching is always a need on for every team, but in an Astros uniform is yet to be, see. More than likely, my opinion, I don't think he's going to be in an Astros uniform next year in the 26th
I
season.
think it will.
Okay, and why is that though?
Like what I've been preaching, like what I've been saying is like he wants to be an Astro.
Mhm.
Now, the only thing to be money with the Astros, and I think this Framber meltdown kind of been played in their favor, because if he would have continued his dominant performance, I think teams would have been willing to pay what, over max free contract. But although there might be a risk taker out there that could still probably pay him that much, I'm not going to rule that out completely, right? Because I'm sure there's teams that could desperately need pitching, and will deal with that, deal with those antics just to get some wins on the table, right? But I think he made himself vulnerable to getting to, the Astros might give him the qualifying offer. He might decline, but they might offer him something less than what's expected, and just it might be his only option. It might be, his best deal that the Astros give him, and the Astros don't give pretty good long-term deals. If I do say so myself, they try to get, you know, they worry about other aspects of the game too in that part. But I think this meltdown really helped the Astros in trying to give him a realistic offer.
Yeah, I mean, it could help Houston. If you're Houston though, too, when you think about it, you're like, do we want to bring a guy
Yeah.
back that he was vocal in post game interviews about defensive positioning, as well as the mix up, the cross up, what says our
Yeah.
Salazar. There's a lot of questions. Do you want that enigma that in your clubhouse? And that honestly hurts a clubhouse in general. It doesn't really feed well. It doesn't help out the players because you're supposed to be as a family. And Houston has always, had a cultural family each and
But
every season. Everything has been cohesive, but this season, and I'm specifically talking about them, with Framber Valdez, it's been very different.
yeah, I mean, I can see that as well too. But besides Hunter Brown, who what other pitcher you got better in front of this?
You really don't. You're gonna have to see what Miguel the spring training. You're gonna have to see what Miguel Ulola possesses.
Yeah.
AJ Blueball, honestly, this is a
He's a
guy
good.
I think that can look into a 4 or 5 spot of that back end of the
Yeah,
rotation.
he's a
I
good.
think he would be a good option for Houston. Of course, you're still going to have Christian Javier, Hayden Wisniewski, and Ronel Blanco are probably going to be guys coming back either
Yep.
before after the All Star break.
I
So
just
for Houston, they would look into signing more than likely a veteran starting pitcher that's going to want to go on a 1 or 2 year.
but like I said, I don't think the Astros could afford from Ranger Suarez.
Of
I think
course,
he'll
I
get.
agree.
I think. I think he'll get a max free similar deal just because he's been great this season as well. Zach Gallen could be another guy the Astros could like lose on the Framber Valdez sweepstakes, but they're gonna have to sign somebody, right? And I think Framber Valdez is their best chance of signing somebody because again he's been openly willing. He wants to come back to Houston,
Mhm.
and like I said, you don't really have a better option, and I don't think you can trust Lance McCullers Jr. being you know uh, a legit starter. I would say I don't think you can trust Luis Garcia either coming back from injury just because I know it's going to be another year. Maybe you can, right? But I think the injury's just been very unfortunate for them too. And uh, you'll have Christian Javier, you have Spencer Agetti, who again might be if he does need Tommy John, might not have next year either. Actually,
Yeah.
and I think about it, right? You got Ronel Blanco probably, but Ronel Blanco, was trying to get hit on a little bit, as well too. So I think
Mhm.
if you want a legitimate chance to win, I think Fernandez is going to be the answer. You just got to t- take the whole person and try to mold him into, something good. I know the Astros had 6 years to do that plus, right? But I think this year has been the worst of the emotions for Fernandez, I think, honestly. And
Mhm.
it was very, I wouldn't say subtle because you can notice it, but it wasn't escalated to something negative. And I think now, it's it is, and I think like if they can bring it to like I'm not saying the emotions on the field are bad, right? Because I just show someone that cares about the game, someone who wants to do good, right? But there's a way to say it, there's a way to do it, and if he can figure that out, I think it'll be much better for the clubhouse as well.
It depends on Framber Valdez too.
Yeah,
If he's going to want to take the contract, whatever Houston offers. We don't know what they're going to offer. But Houston, of course, the qualifying offer is going to be denied by Framber Valdez.
of
It
course.
just depends whenever Houston decides to throw another offer at him. Will he take it? And that's up to Framber Valdez. If he doesn't, then Houston's going to have to explore other options. And that's why I said maybe you look into veterans on 1 and 2 year deals, or you go on the trade block, which the Astros really do not have a lot to offer, and look into trading some prospects for a starting pitcher. Of course, what comes into my mind is Minnesota, which I don't think Minnesota's going to want low tier prospects. They're going to want high tier.
They want
But
Santa,
you
they're gonna
have
want Cole.
you have Pablo Lopez, who just signed just for him. Thinking about now, just signed a contract extension with them, and just look what happened this season. That's kind of unfortunate. And then Joe Ryan as well. So them two starters can be, I wouldn't mind for Houston to knock on the door on those guys and see what kind of offer that looks like. If it's high, if it's low. Um, of course, Houston would have to take some of that money from Minnesota for Pablo Lopez's contract, and then Joe Ryan's on just on his. I don't know if it's his rookie contract, but of course you're gonna have to trade some prospects for both those guys, and they're probably going to be guys like Jacob Milton, Bryce Matthews. Um, you can go Miguel Lola if you want to. I mean, they're going to
Yeah, no.
demand some, and yeah, I'm not. I'm just throwing
Yeah,
prospect names out there, but I think the emergence of Zach Cole, I
small
think,
sample size.
which is a
That's
small
all.
sample size, but Jesus, I mean, when you hits the
Yeah,
ball deep, that shit carries 440 something in this game against Seattle, and it was like what 420 or 430 with Atlanta, the home runs. When he makes contact on that ball, man, that shit goes deep. That shit runs deep. So that's what I'm saying. A Jacob Melton could be a guy that the Astros explore in a trade this offseason. We're getting too ahead of ourselves right now. But for starting pitching, the Astros are going to have to get at least two starting pitchers this offseason.
Yeah, I agree.
So, but the real topic of this podcast, do the Astros still have a shot? Angel had gone into a little bit more into it. But if you're just joining us, we're going to give you the standings real quick. Toronto Blue Jays 90 and 66. Seattle Mariners in second with 87 and 69. Detroit Tigers, who have been very down, 1 and 9 in their last 10 games on a 6-game losing streak, 85 and 71 in the third seed. And like Angel had mentioned, the New York Yankees are the first seed with the 88-68 record. Boston with the 85-71 record. Cleveland Guardians 84 and 72, as well as the Houston Astros that are 84 and 72. So why you say that? Both their records are the same. Why are the Astros not there? And third, well, it's because the Cleveland Guardians got the tiebreaker on Houston. Same goes as the Boston Red Sox. Same goes for the New York Yankees. And same goes for the Detroit Tigers. Everybody has a tiebreaker against Houston. And like we had talked about, Mariners gained a 3-game lead after the sweep in at Dyken Park. The Guardians have won 10 of their last 11 games. They're playing hot baseball. 84 and 62 is their record, like I mentioned. Tigers have lost 6 in a row. So that can flip flop with the third seed and the last spot of the wild card between Detroit and Cleveland. So for Houston, what needs to go their way? What can the Astros do in order for them to be in position for that last wild card spot? Because let's face it, they are not going to win the American League West. The Seattle Mariners, unless
Yeah.
something happens, unless
Unless they
Colorado
get
wins two.
swept both series, yeah.
Yeah, if Colorado wins two and if LA sweeps them or LA wins two and the Astros win out, then Houston might have a chance to actually win the division. But if the Astros and Seattle are tied in game 162, Seattle's the division. That's the
Yeah.
division winner because they took the series from Houston, just this past weekend. So what needs to happen? This is what I'm going to say, Andrew. You can agree or not. Astros have to go 6-0. They have to be 5-1, and the worst they can be is 4-2 in these last two series against the Athletics and the Angels.
Yeah, I'd say 4-2. That's fine, but I think they actually got to win out.
They
They
do.
got to control their own destiny because I'm looking at the upcoming games for Cleveland, and they have an interesting one. It'll be Cleveland, Detroit, start a 3-game set, right? And literally, I think winner takes the division from there.
Hmm.
Right? Could be. Now, after the Detroit series, Cleveland goes against the Rangers, who I can guarantee you are not going to do any favors for the Astros, right? And Detroit, after the Cleveland series, goes against the Boston Red Sox, who are trying to
Ooh,
stay alive themselves for the wild card spot,
wow.
right? So, you know, it's going to be a very interesting six remaining games in the major leagues. But as of right now, the Astros are hoping the Cleveland Indians, oh sorry, Guardians,
Guardians.
lose as many games as possible, right? And like I said, I'm not saying that the Rangers are gonna tank on purpose, for the Cleveland Guardians to do it, but again, the Rangers are gonna do what the Rangers want to do, and they I'm sure they're not willing to help the Astros, right? Could be, right? Maybe they want to win games, but like finish the season on a good note. But Cleveland's good, Detroit's good, and the Astros got to make sure they control their own destiny. So I would say they got to win out and just be scoreboard watching, honestly, and see what's going on around the league.
I'm curious to see who Boston plays next.
On
They
it,
play the
and
Blue Jays.
well, again, I'm sure they're trying to run away with that first seed, like not giving no doubt. So
Yeah, Toronto has a 3-game lead on the Mariners for the first seed. So
yeah, they need to
Toronto
win out.
for Boston. Boston has to play Toronto, and you said the Guardians or the Tigers.
I said both. The Guardians are playing against Detroit and the Rangers. Detroit's going against Cleveland and the Red Sox.
And the Red Sox are going against Toronto and Cleveland.
So they have a tough schedule too.
For Houston, if I'm Houston, yeah, I mean, like you said, Angel, they got to win out. They have to. It's just set in stone. You have to win out. But if you're Houston, I'm saying this is not a lot of Astros fans are going to be probably thinking I'm crazy. I think you do not want to be set as a second wild card spot because you would have to go to the Bronx and you're going to have to face the Yankees. And I think the Yankees
I
have been
kind of like
playing.
that matchup
I
better for
do
the
too.
Astros.
I'm not going to lie, but Yankees, I think, have been playing better baseball. They've seen what Framber Valdez is looking at right now. I mean, every team is ready to look at how Framber is pitching. But I think if you're Houston, you would like to be in that last spot of the wild card because you will take on the number three, who will either be Detroit and Cleveland. And I honestly think Houston has a better shot against them two teams. Detroit has been playing not great baseball as of late. They only
Yeah.
have one true starting pitcher, and Tariq Skubal. Their offense has been struggling mightily, and they've been having some injury bugs themselves. So Detroit could be a good team to go look at. That could be
However,
like a revenge series for them too. Just thinking back, you would have to go to Comerica Park, play Detroit, and see if you can do the same thing what Detroit did to you last year.
however, Detroit has Tyreek Schoolball pitching
Okay.
Tuesday. They have Jack Flaherty pitching Wednesday. All right. So what did that tell you? That they should be ready for game one, game two of those playoffs too. So again, easier said than done.
Tariq
So
Skubal is a hell of a pitcher, but you take your chances at game two or game three if you're Houston going against Detroit. I mean, you could try to get Skubal out of his rhythm. You've seen Skubal in some starts have pitch and some jams and kind of not get out of it.
yeah.
So, he is human. He's not a starting pitcher that's going to give you scoreless innings every outing. Well, with Cleveland, it's the same situation. Honestly, they really do not have a true ace. Tanner Bybee is maybe the only
Yeah.
the guy. I mean, I think there's another guy named Joey Cantillo or Cantillo,
Cantillo, yeah.
and then there's another starter too. That I can't think of him in the top of my head. I mean, they got a good bullpen with Kate Smith as their closer. It hurts them they don't have Emmanuel Clase because that'd be a
No,
really pretty good 8-9,
nor Luis Ortiz.
and nor Luis Ortiz. And Cleveland's offense is, I mean, right now they're playing hot baseball. Do you want to see a hot lineup right now of Jose Ramirez, Stephen Kwan,
The
Kyle
Astros,
Luzardo, Bo Naylor? Or would you rather
you
see
know,
a struggling offense of Riley Green, Kerry Carpenter,
yeah.
Spencer Torkelson?
Yeah, I mean, I can see why you picked Detroit because again, the Astros have seen a hot lineup in 2019, have seen a hot lineup in 2021, and that's didn't work out for them, right? I
Mhm.
would even say a hot team last year with the Detroit Tigers who were just on a heater too. So it's the the Astros need to get hot in the right time, and unfortunately, that's it's not looking at the case for them.
And usually there is always a team in the wild card regarding either it's the National League or the American League.
And I think it's Seattle
Make,
right now, to be honest.
but they make a deep run.
But like because they're on a heater, right?
They're on a heater.
And I
But
would
if
say
they
that
get
I think
that
the Mariners
but if they get
are
that
that team.
seed, does that help them or does
Yeah.
that cool them down?
Yeah. I guess we gotta wait and see
We've
what
seen
happens.
this. We've seen this multiple times with teams in the division. I think the Phillies are an example. They were the number two seed, and then they cooled off. You saw that with the Dodgers, with the Padres. They had the second seed, they cooled off. You saw that with the Astros being the third seed. They played a hot Detroit team, and Detroit swept them at home.
Yeah.
I mean, I can go on and on with teams, starting hot and then being cold. And if Houston, like I said, if Houston can find a way to catch fire, win 6 games in a row, go 5-1, at least I think they have to sweep the Angels. They have
They
to,
have to go undefeated. I think
and
that's
they
the
do.
best.
Yes, they have to go undefeated. And we're saying it like it's just simple, it's easy. But you saw Houston struggle against Sacramento Athletics through this whole season. The Angels, they've actually Houston's actually done, better against the Angels this year. And now that the Angels are not going to have Zach Neto for the rest of the season being out, and their starting pitching as well isn't going to be a strength, so that kind of helps Houston a lot right there. So I think the best case scenario for Houston, you get the last wild card spot, and you either play a struggling Detroit team, and we'll see if Cleveland stays hot. But you play one of them Central teams, and then you play the Seattle Mariners, and then that's going to be another boxing fight right there. That's going to be a boxing match, honestly. That's going to be a best of 5 series. Seattle already has a good depth of starting pitchers, and their starting pitchers, which more than likely, if it's going to be 1, 2, 3, it can be Brian Wu. Brian Wu's number one. Let's get that out the way. Game 1 started right there. Game 2 is either going to Logan Gilbert or Luis Castillo. You can fight for that. And I think George Kirby and Bryce Miller go into the bullpen role. And for Houston, it's going to be tough because their bullpen, Seattle's bullpen's honestly really good. They're really good. Matt Brash, Andres Munoz. It's going to be tough for Houston. I think you would rather face Toronto, but you have to face the Yankees and the Bronx. Of course, Houston has a lot of familiarity over there, has success over there. But how long can that success sustain against a team with Carlos Rodon? I know I'm missing another guy.
Luis Gil,
Luis Gil, he struggled a little bit, but
Max Fried.
Max Free's the other guy. That's the other guy I was thinking of. Max Free, Carlos Rodon. So you can take Jesus Sanchez out of that lineup because that's 2 lefties right there. He ain't going to play. You find a way to beat the Yankees, and you travel to Canada, Toronto, the 6th to face the Blue Jays against
Well,
Shane Bieber, Kevin Gossman,
that's if they're the fifth seed. You said
Ozzie Berrios. Say it again.
that you said if they're the fifth seed. You said
Yes, but it depends too on the 6th seed. Let's say Boston gets it, and they beat Detroit, then Boston
well,
would travel to Toronto. Wouldn't that be correct?
don't don't if they're the don't if they're the sixth seed and they say, for example, they beat whoever
The 3rd seed.
Detroit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I was saying right now. So if
then
Boston beats the 3rd
then
seed,
they go to Toronto.
yes,
Uh,
that's what I forgot to
Yeah,
mention.
yeah. So then they go to Toronto. Like if they're the sixth seed and they win, they're going to Toronto. But if they're the fifth seed, depending what the sixth seed does, they'll either play against like whatever the scenario is.
Yeah, well, give me your best case. I mean, you did say they need to win out, but these last 6 games, I'm predicting Astros win 2 of 3 from the Athletics, and they sweep the Angels at home, which I think it's going to be tough because it means their last series at home. You want to go out there with a dub, with a bang, if you're the Angels, but I think the Astros finish 5-1, and they are on a 4-game winning streak onto the last spot of the wild card.
See, I don't think it'll be that easy because
It's not.
again, ideally, yes, like you said, but I think the Astros got it the hardest because they're going against the Mariners and the Angels, who are division rivals,
Athletics, you meant.
and sorry, yes, A's and Angels, who are division rivals, and they're not going to do them any favors either. I'm sure the Athletics have on a game plan. Well, we're already out. Well, let's go sweep them. We don't got nothing to lose for, right? We don't got anything to play for. So they're gonna play spoiler the Angels as well. Although the Angels have had, I'm sorry, the Astros have had the Angels number, like you said. They're not gonna make it easy. They're not gonna make it easy. They're going to do everything it takes to ruin the Astros' chances to make the playoffs, and it's just like and that'll be a win for them, right? Like if they do. So I'd say they go 3-3 in the next six
Ooh,
games, and
three
they
and
don't
three,
make the playoffs.
and they missed the postseason for the first time since 2016.
Yeah, and not too many Astros fans are probably not agreeing with me, not happy with it. But again, this is being realistic here. Just one thing I will do on this podcast is I will be honest. I'm not gonna sugarcoat things like just to gain an extra view or stuff like that. Just
The extra follower.
yeah, that's not good reporting, right? So I'll be honest. I'll be upfront. I think they go three
You
and
got
three. I
to.
think athletics are gonna be a tough task. Just especially playing on that field. But I think they can take. So I think they go 1-2 against the A's, 2-1 against the Angels. But
The
again, I could be wrong. But that's just my
that
2 cents.
the A's are a better team on the road. Shockingly, they're 40-41 on the road, and they are 33-42. And this is why I say I think Houston wins 2 out of 3. They played really well against the Athletics over there. They honestly should have won one of those games. It should have been a serious win for them at Sacramento. But I mean, I believe there was an error that occurred, and then Josh Hader they had to go in the ninth in a tight situation. Nick Kurtz hit the home run. Yep, we
Yeah.
saw that how that came out to be. But for Houston, they like I said, they hit really well the last time they were there. Mauricio Dubon was Barry Bonds hitting home run after home run over there. Jeremy Pena had a home run. I mean, the extra base hits is what's going to help Houston in that series. If they could get so many, at least 5+ in this series, I would say 6, honestly. 6+ extra base hits. That's why I think they would win 2 out of 3. The reason why I'm saying 2 out of 3, you got Christian Javier, which Angel's going to do the pitching preview here in a second. And of course, to be determined players, I wouldn't be surprised AJ Blue Ball starts one of these games. I'm pretty sure I'm telling more into Wednesday or Tuesday's matchup,
Yeah.
even though he pitched Sunday. So I don't, man. Colin Gordon could be another option. I think the offense does click in all cylinders
Yeah.
in this series against the Athletics.
I don't think the offense going to be the issue. I think it's more the pitching
You
wise.
think pitching more on this one
Yeah.
this time?
Yeah.
And it is a AAA ballpark, so you saw how that turned out to be at George Steinbrenner Field for the Rays and the Astros, seeing them in one of 30 ballparks being home runs for
Yeah.
Hunter Brown. So yeah, must win games. We'll just have to just keep our eyes glued to the TV in this series against the Athletics.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be an interesting 6 games, but this is why you just love baseball in general, right? These nail biting games. All teams are going to go all out to secure their pace and time. But again, wouldn't be surprised if the Astros do make the playoffs. I just want to set the record straight. Wouldn't be surprised there, right? But it's just trying to being a little realistic. Uh Athletics pitching preview though, 73-83 record, fourth in the AL West, 7-3 in their last 10 games, and as for they have lost 2 games in a row. 4 against the Athletics in Houston were swept last time they faced at home too. So again, not an easy series there. Now, when I checked right before we recorded, it was Christian Javier versus TBD, right? But the Athletics finally named who's going to be pitching Tuesday's game, so it's going to be Christian Javier versus Jeffrey Springs.
Okay.
Uh, Javier again is 2-3 with a 4.45 ERA. I think that ERA doesn't speak volumes of how Christian Javier has been good since he's been coming back against Texas. 16 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts, and his best pitch so far has been a sweeper. I think that's one even before he got injured has been a really good one. 150.150 point batting average, and the fastball below is up from last year, 292.9 on that fastball as well. So I think right now Christian Javier is looking good. I think he can, if the Astros were going to win a game, I think this is the best chance right now for this series. We got a Christian Javier, and then until we know more information about who the rest are, we'll give you know. But yes, Jeffrey Springs, he's 10-11 with a 4.17 ERA. Uh, in his last 7 games, though, in his last 7 starts, he is 0-4 with a 5.29 ERA. Those are all bench starts, right? He's allowed in 34 innings, he allowed 42 hits, 28 runs, 12 walks, and only 28 strikeouts. So it hasn't been pretty for him. His last outing against Boston, he did go 4 innings, allowing 5 hits, 0 runs, 3 walks, and 3 strikeouts too. So again, hasn't won a game in his last 7 starts, but didn't pitch too bad against Boston. So it's just see which Jeffrey Springs you're gonna get.
Yeah, he has pitched against Houston at Diamond Park. Had a quality start, 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. So I mean, the Astros have footage of this guy. See what worked well in that start for him, what didn't work well. Um, yeah, that's a little bit more on him. But yeah, if he hasn't won a game, for him, he's looking to win his first and possibly last game of his start of his season. And for the Astros, they're looking to win a game because they're on a 3 game losing streak right now.
Yeah, and then again, the rest of the outings are TBD. But talking about the matchups, like we said, because at this point, the actual scoreboard watching and looking at matchups and stuff like that too. So, Tigers have Schoolball versus the Guardians have, I think, Williams after
Gavin,
his first
Gavin
Gavin
Williams.
Williams.
Mhm.
Yes, another interesting matchup to keep an eye on. Like we said, is the Boston and Toronto, and they have Lucas Giolito, who's done pretty good, 10-4 with 3.46 ERA against Kevin Gosman. So, if you have a chance to see that game, that'd be a good matchup there. And the Rangers again, Twins Rangers. Let's see who's another, and then TBD for Seattle and Rockies. I think that's the biggest matchup though, right there. Like those two games, I think you're looking at very closely. If you're Astros fan.
What helps Houston too is that they're in the West Coast, so these games are going to be going early, and they're East Coast for the Blue Jays and Red Sox. As for the Guardians, that they usually play at 6 something. I
Yeah,
think like
six.
6:50, 6:45. Last time they played 6:30. It's some weird time that they have over there, either in
Yeah,
Detroit or Cleveland. But for the Astros, yeah, they will be scoreboard watching, but it's going to be in their benefit because it's like, okay, is there going to be pressure for them when they're playing, or is it going to kind of be at ease? Like, okay,
yeah,
Boston lost today, Cleveland lost today, so we gained a game. If we could win today, we'll gain a game on them. So
yeah.
you are
But
scoreboard watching, but you have to do your job at the end of the day
of
too.
course, and honestly, both the Target series and Guardian, and the Toronto and Red Sox are must see TV because on Wednesday, Tigers and Guardians, Jack Flaherty versus Tyner Bybee, sorry. And then Red Sox and Blue Jays is Gary Crochet versus Max Scherzer too. So again, just must see TV there.
Yeah, I mean these are matchups that can go 0-3 for the Red Sox and 0-3 for the Guardians. That honestly helps Houston, but like I said, Houston has to do their job and win the ball games necessary for them to be in a postseason spot.
Yeah, and if the Astros are gonna, make a push in this last 6 games, they're gonna need a healthy lineup. And starting with Jeremy Pena, he did leave. The lineup was left oblique tightness. He was scratched, but this is what according to China Rome, this is what was said about the situation. He said we decided it was best to give it a day, give it some rest, and go from there. He said, I don't feel too bad, but I don't want to give a timeline yet. Are you looking at Jerry Pena being back in the lineup tomorrow?
I
Or I
believe
guess
so.
Tuesday.
I believe so. I thought Dana Brown had spoke about this today,
Okay.
or was it Sunday night? Yeah, the 21st. This from Channel Rome too as well. But Dana Brown had told Robert Ford of the pregame show that Pena was going to get some imaging done on his left oblique, but felt like this could be just a 2 day thing. So obviously Sunday didn't play, Monday they had a day off. But for Pena, I think you got to play. If you're in his mentality, his shoes, I'm pretty sure he's going in there like, nah, I got to play. I got to find a way to play some way somehow because your season's on the line. You saw
And
Freddie, and I wanted to make this real quick, Angel, too, about this
go
statement.
ahead.
If Freddie Freeman could play almost with a broken ankle in the postseason, there's no way in hell some of these guys like Pena. I'm pretty sure yes, that it's a little tight. Your low oblique, the oblique ones too. They're tricky injuries because you use your oblique for so many things: throwing, base
Swinging.
running, hitting. So yeah, it just they have to just monitor the tightness. Maybe put a warm wrap around his left oblique just to keep it warm, loose, everything
Yeah,
like that.
talking to players this end of the season, one thing that stands out is that no one's at 100%.
No,
No one's at 100%. Like everybody has their aches and pains at this point of the season, and it's just you got to play through them a little bit. And I think, like you said, I agree. I think Jerry Payne's in Atlanta tomorrow. because he knows what's at stake here if they want to have a postseason run. So, and at this point, pitchers too. I don't, like I'm sure they're battling a little arm pain here and there, right? But you gotta do what you gotta do. And Jordan Alvarez is another guy that is a huge loss right now for the Astros not being in this lineup. And again, this is per Channel Rome as well through an interpreter. Jordan Alvarez said he is progressing better than the initial prognosis, but isn't doing any baseball activities while they wait for swelling to go down. Alvarez said he is not going on the Astros' final road trip of the season.
which makes sense.
If
I think
yeah,
he's not going to play the regular season.
if the Astros make the postseason, do you think, or do you include Jordan Alvarez in the wild card lineup? I'm gonna say no, but what do you think?
I'd say yes. You have to play a 70%, a 75% Alvarez. You have to because I will
Yeah,
say this
but
too.
you
It will
can't.
be tough for him to. He's going to have to play left field. He will have to play left field because Isak is dealing with a hamstring, and of course,
Yeah,
we're not 100% sure how he feels running.
yeah.
And Isak played DH. He was in the DH role for these last games in Seattle. I'm pretty sure more than likely he's going to be a DH role against the Athletics.
See, but with Jordan, it's also a lower leg injury too. So I mean, from
Did they add a little bit of context of what the lower leg is? Is it a?
what's it
It
an
can't be
ankle? They said
Achilles. I mean, yeah, it's an ankle injury, but
that's how
it's
it
not a
is.
hamstring. It's not a. I mean, unless it is, I'm just speculating here at this point. Um, if you're Alvarez, that's my comparison right there. If you're Alvarez, you got to find a way to be like Freddie Freeman. Freeman played with a, I'm gonna say it, fucked up ankle throughout the 24 postseason. He wasn't healthy against the Padres. A lot of people, a lot of players already knew that. So it just depends on how Alvarez feels. If he just can't play through it, of course, you're not gonna make him just play through it. But if he feels like he can go through it, throw some icy hot, um, with football players, of course, you gotta tape your ankle very high, especially running backs out there. If he has to do that, if he's gonna try to figure out what he can do to be in the lineup and put the team in a better position to win some games, by all means, that's what he's gonna do. But like I said, it depends on the player. If he feels like he can do it, I'd ride with it. But if he just feels like the pain is too severe and it's just too much to work with, then by all means, you're not gonna try to put your best player out there to do what he can to play in that wild card. So
Yeah, and then for me, giving it Jordan Alvarez injury history, I don't think they play him in the wild card. Yeah,
yeah, I
that's
mean
just.
the
I mean,
competitive side of me will say, nah, I gotta find a way to play.
of course, of course, of course, but
And that's what I'm saying. If Alvarez does have a competitive side in him
I'm sure he does.
and yeah, he probably does, but if like I said, it depends on the player. If he wants to go out there and say,
But
"Hey, let's go do it," by all means, let's do it. But if he's like
it,
Coach Brown, Dana Brown, Joe Spada, it's just not going the way I plan. Spada and Brown are not gonna force him to go out
yeah, and like you said, I know you're like we're not debating if Jordan Alvarez competitive or not. That's not what we're saying right
there. No,
here.
we
But
are not.
and I agree with you, right? I mean, players pay through injury, but again, I think Jordan Alvarez is also looking for himself too. He does have, I'm sure he wants to play for years and years to come, right? And connect all the back he can get as well. So I think that's another thing to look out for.
Yeah, and then I don't know. Do you roll with the 70% Alvarez right now? You're rolling with
If he
a
can, yes, I'm saying. But the thing is, what do you do with Isak Because I don't think
he,
I don't think he's healthy enough to play second base.
no, but he has played some defense at third base. Fill him some
But
ground
then
here and
what do
there.
you do with Correa?
You put him at second base. See if you can get Correa to convince him to go second, or
Now, Correa, I know I feel like he'll do, you
whatever's
know,
best.
yeah, whatever's best for the team. It's
Okay.
just I don't know. That's it's tough.
Yeah, they're in a difficult position because with Alvarez, like I said, the position you would put him would be in left field, but you're gonna have to do a lot of running if you're going in left. You're gonna have to track with some balls down, get to foul to the damn line in left, and then gappers in left center. So it's gonna be very tough for him to move if that ankle is not, ideally good to run on. And with these hamstring injuries, just it's just not the best either. So yeah, I agree with you. It's just kind of like, okay, where do you put these guys at? There's only one DH spot. Who gets the DH spot? It depends on if Isak says, you know what, I feel 95%, almost 100% to play a defensive position, then I am putting Isak either at second base or third base, and that's the conversation between Correa and the manager and Paredes and the manager to see what can be best for the team.
Yeah.
So that's how I see
Yeah.
it.
Again, an interesting upcoming 6 days for Houston. You know, it's like this. I feel like this is one of the most grinding seasons the Astros have had in a while too. So it's good for baseball. But if you're an Astros fan, you're on the edge of your seat, just hoping and praying things go right for the Astros next 6 games.
Yeah, you're not just doing that. You're also scoreboard watching, just like the players as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Checking on your phone, looking at MLB Network on TV. There's a lot of what ifs for these next 6 games for the Astros, and they cannot play the what if card. They got to play the go all in, have to do what's best for the team kind of card.
Yes, playoff games already. I actually think the playoff game started last week too when they were going against the Rangers. So yeah,
They got to treat every game as an elimination game at this point. Honestly,
yeah.
they have
Mhm.
to. So we'll see. But we appreciate each and every one of y'all. 11:12 p.m. Central Time in Houston, Texas on a Monday night. Like Angel said, I don't know what the hell happened to my icons up there, but we are on Twitter and on TikTok, Full Steam Ahead, FSA Full Steam Ahead on Instagram, YouTube as well. Subscribe to the podcast channel on there. We're throwing out some reels, videos, shorts, all that good kind of stuff. And of course, if you are busy and you're on the road and you want to listen to us, or you're at the gym like Stebby, that's probably working out, about to hit that download, hit that button of listening
Sammy's
to
not working out right now.
right?
He's in bed, still throwing up from the 5K.
Oh man, he's gonna contact you after this. But Spotify and Apple Podcasts, we are there. Wherever you get your podcasts, we are also there as well. Like, rate, subscribe, download, leave some comments in there, feedback as well. Um, because like I said, these are the last 6 games of the 2025 season. We are yet to be known of what's going to happen for the postseason for the Houston Astros. If they are going to be in it, then of course you're going to continue to listen to us. If they are not in it, we will give you an update what's going to happen. I know last year we kind of had like a month of a break because of the postseason. But we'll see what goes from there. Angel, you got any final thoughts before we sign off?
No, just thank you for listening. Thank you for again taking the time for hearing us out, seeing our opinions, and putting all that good stuff. We appreciate our support all season. Honestly, y'all been great, and we hope to see y'all, soon. And just as long as the Astros are playing, we'll be here for you.
Yeah, we are going to try our damn near best to get you a recap of this athletic series and get you the preview of the Angel series. I know we've been kind of off and on. We have lives. We're working. Some of our schedule works out, some doesn't work out, but we are going to try our damn best for these next 2 series to get y'all a video and a live pod. So y'all give y'all thoughts, comments, all that good stuff. Because we love when the audience engages, like just today. We hope we can do that more, either on Thursday night and Sunday night, and possibly more, just depending on what happens with the whole positioning of the American League.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah. Till then, y'all stay safe. Have a great start of your week. And like I said, we'll get that recap of the Athletic series and the preview of the Angels series. But if you're a Houston Astros fan, you're hoping for a good series outcome against the Athletics. If it is a sweep, Angel, the Astros will not make the postseason. I agree with you on that. But I'll have to see. Till then, y'all stay safe. Talk to y'all later.